are day 5. And look at this, man. Friday night, we got a few committed ones. Well, Doug Fred, I'll get the recording. Yeah, man. But you know what? The elite of the elite, and not because it's elite coaching, but the elite, the 0.0001% show up live. You know why? 80% of success is showing up. So how cool are you guys? Totally cool. Thank you very much. Thank you for self-muting. So here we are, disrupting healthcare, start a chiropractic lifestyle revolution. So you're like, okay, Fred, it's the same friggin' slide. Why? Because, and this is what we were talking about before we started recording, Jose. Man, if you don't have something that's so much bigger than yourself that it's freaking impossible that you have to rely on God. So when you have a purpose and a calling, which on Billionaire Mindset videos, they say calling is even bigger than purpose as far as inspiration. I think purpose is a human inspiration. I think it's spiritual as well. Calling is definitely a spiritual inspiration, and that's just a whole nother level. So when you set something that's so big that you have to evolve your consciousness, then you are forced to evolve, because you don't have to evolve. But when it's so big and you're created to do this, we go over this in Healed in 8, Psalm 139:16. I saw your days before they were formed. Meaning, like, you're sitting there watching a video with God as your trailer in the spirit world, like, okay, man, what am I going to do? Put me in, coach. I'm in. I'm coming in for all the pain. And then your humanity, your personality would never choose what your soul chose, because then you get into this life and you're like, what WTF was I thinking? Okay, I want to go back. Please take me back. I just want to go back. Nope. Nope. You can't go back. You got to work it out, man. And that's why we're here. In your spirits, in the spirit world, they have compassion, but they celebrate the evolution of a soul. They celebrate your humanity. They don't look at, your spirit doesn't look at your human pain the same way your humanity does. And so when you have a calling that's so much bigger, then you have to be 1000% committed to your evolution. And, I was listening yesterday, I was listening to Billionaire Mindset, and they said the difference between billionaires and people that aren't billionaires, and it's not about the money, it's billionaires have a tolerance for failure. That's it. They have a tolerance for failure because they have failed far more than they have succeeded. And with that note, we're framing what we're going to go through today. So let's take a look. Hey, the world's changing, man. Are you going to create leaders? Because that's what we're called to. So I show this slide again. And then Patrick, you're on here. Thank you so much for this text, because this is also framing what we're going through right now. Right? So there's a video Patrick sent me of RFK Jr. No stone be left unturned in our effort to end chronic disease. The health of our children is a higher calling for all of us. So I watched the message, and it's a great message, and he's politically correct, because he says, we have a problem. There's more depression, more cancer, more of all this stuff, right? He names it. And then he says, we don't know what's causing it. Yeah, right. He's trying to remain. What's he doing? He's inviting people into the process. This is what we teach you. Well, we don't know what's causing it. He knows exactly what's causing it, but what's he say? We're going to look for the cause, and we're committed to make America healthy again. And so, just on a side note, I hired a new executive assistant. We don't really do titles there. But her name's Tiffany. You guys will develop a great relationship with her. You'll love her. And so yesterday I met with her. And now, so here's the deal, because people, not the process. So just on a personal story, She's a go-getter, man. She's perfect. When I interviewed her, I'm like, like I said, she's taken um, a 75% reduction in her salary, but we have a significant bonus system. There you go. Welcome, sergeants. Here you go. And so I go, why'd you take this job? Well, when I go to an interview, the first question I ask is, what's your mission statement? And she says, most people don't know it. You gave me your vision and I believed you. That's it. That's it. That is the whole thing about disrupting. Do you have a message that when you convey it, people believe you? That's why he started with, we don't know, but we're going to find out. We're going to interview doctors and we're going to interview moms. Look at that. We're going to look at the science and we're going to tell the truth. So shit's going to be going down. And so before I got on this call, I was thinking, because thank you, Patrick, man, you could have had, was that divine timing or what? Because he is creating a wake and all we have to do is jump into the wake. So what does jumping into the wake look like? So I think if I was practicing now, what would I do? Well, in COVID, I would have gave a COVID vaccination workshop. Absolutely. People have questions. And tonight, the theme is leadership. So there you go. He's creating the wake. So what would I do? I would create a workshop where it's titled, What's Going On in the World? With a captivating subtitle. Let's get to the truth of healthcare. This is coming off my mind right now. Let's get to the truth of healthcare so we can live the life God created us to live. That's what I would write. There you go. I mean, you may not like that. I thought it was pretty awesome, but that's only my opinion. So that only goes to a limited amount. But that's what I would do. And I would say, look, here's what's going on. Here's what we're finding out. And I would talk about the history of pharmaceuticals. And I would talk about Rockefeller. And I would talk about that healing has always been energy. And I would redefine that and I would empower people. I would give that workshop because this is what's going on. If you don't get ahead of what's going on, then people are going to be confused. But what if tonight, the theme of tonight is creating leaders? By the way, that's a core value. We create leaders. Then I would tailor a workshop that is specific for what's going on in the world and jump in the wake. It's a powerful wake, man. It's got a ton of momentum. So as you guys know, for 20 years, now I'm going to give you a little surprise tonight that isn't a surprise. Hey, here's the people I studied. What did they do? I want to know what they did. Because if they can create a new world, then I want to know what they... Oh my God, look who I added. Is this guy a disruptor or what? So there you go. Got a little surprise. So day 5, don't create a patient, create a leader with chiropractic purpose to change healthcare. Go beyond care delivery. This is where, how many times have I told you guys, have I said, Dr. Susie's getting in the way, right? Dr. Patrick, Dr. Jose, how much do you love teaching? Because when you're staring at the back of their head walking out the door, how much do you love teaching at that moment? And this is why I keep this background. You have to be the lighthouse. So if I stop sharing right now, where'd it go? I thought it was going to pull up my picture, but apparently it didn't. Now, if you notice, where are the clouds? What's right above the lighthouse? Divinity, out of the blue. You ever think about words? We go through this in Healed. When something comes out of the blue, what's that? It comes from heaven. It comes through the firmament, says in the Bible, right? God created the firmament, comes through into us. So your light clears and opens up the truth. That's why I keep forgetting every time I finish this. I'm like, shit, I forgot to show why I have the lighthouse. What's the fog? All the misconceptions. The fog is the world, but you are enlightened. You are light. And as you raise your consciousness, this is what we go through in Healed and in the boot camp. When you meditate, when you get into higher consciousness, the average person, what is it? 5,000, I think 10,000 photons they emit per centimeter squared per second. And it goes up to 100,000. When you get in the state of peace, when you go to the map of consciousness from David Hawkins, the state of internal peace is illuminated. You become the light of Christ. You gain a Christ consciousness. So when we empower your patients to become advocates for chiropractic lifestyle, to go into their community as leaders, they do the work for you. Now, I figured this out because for 11 years, I had to do the work. I did screenings. I did home shows. I gave talks. Why? 40 PVA. And so when I figured, how about if I create leaders and let them build it? I stopped working. The last 4 years, I stopped working. So that was awesome. What disrupting principles align with leadership? Now, as I was putting these down, because what do? I go through all these principles again. And on coaching calls, so I'm going to back up. All this week, I'm talking about the same thing. Why? These principles have to be on a subconscious level because these are the fuel that drives everything. If you know them as knowledge, they won't radiate from you. And that's what these principles have to do. Fred, why you keep going through this? Keep repeating the same damn thing. I know this. That's the problem. 3 words that stop learning. There you go. Where else are we going? Beautiful. Thank you very much. You got to take these in as beingness. People don't buy product service. What don't they buy? They don't buy chiropractic. They buy who they're becoming when chiropractic is their primary health care. They buy leadership. They buy leader. That's their identity, is leader. So, quick story. The last few years when I really understood this, not as knowledge, but as beingness, I would sit there with a patient application. I would look at it and I would take a breath. And I would decide right there, decide, because a decision happens in a moment. It could take 20 years or a whole lifetime to get there. But when you decide, the whole universe, Ralph Waldo Emerson, the whole universe will conspire. Why? Because God is our source. Our spirit is our source. He developed our sandbox, the universe, the quantum universe, where atoms respond to our command. What does that mean? Ask and it will be given. Think about that. When you ask from a spiritual consciousness and you see money is not my supply, people are not my supply, my practice is not my supply, divine infinite abundance as me, not in me, as me, radiating into the universe is, capital IS, is my supply because that's my beingness. Then you realize identity is what you radiate. Chiropractic is the principle. The principle is universal law, but that's the product or service you deliver. But identity, leadership is the identity. And now you see how these principles come into beingness, and then you don't have to think about them. This is a fuel, right? Associate your product service with your deepest desire, right? When their deepest desire is, I'm a spiritual being, I have to contribute. My responsibility with God is to contribute and better humanity. Is there any deeper desire? Because there is the capital S, sonship. Christ came in not to show us who he is, like religion teaches us. He came in to show us who we are. We are like him. That's why he said, if you believe, and in the Bible it says, in me, and I believe like me, you can do all these miracles and greater. That starts with your belief system, and we don't sell. None of these leaders sell a product or service. They sell how they're empowering people. We create lifelong raving fans. How do they become raving fans? When they become a leader to be able to change the world. People don't buy product services, they buy beliefs. Who do they believe they are? What do they believe their responsibility is? So when you see these, then you know how to communicate. Because when you believe that their beliefs are they have to contribute to humanity, they're going to do different things. So one of the things when I hired Tiffany, I'm like, you're taking 25% reduction in pay. So you must believe that we can grow. Yes. What did she say? I believe you, right? So what is her beliefs? What did she also say? I want to do something that changes humanity. I mean, what an
Okay, we can
like,
finish
oh,
now. We can finish now.
okay. Do I have to mute?
Very good.
Okay,
So for this process, I will.
there you go. Okay, you're hired. You said those unsolicited. Associate your business with the physics of the universe. I mean, come on. Chiropractic principle. Does it get any better? I mean, hey, Mark, thanks for joining me. Thanks, hey, Sergeant family. Thanks for joining me. iPhone, there you go. So thanks for joining me on Friday night. Does it get any better? Now, when you have a universal law, and that is the principle at 12 o'clock that's driving everything you do, God is your CEO. I always say, thank you, God, you're my marketer. Thank you, God, you're the CEO. Thank you, God, I'm just a servant. I'm just an employee. The clinic is yours. That's why when I'm going to hire someone, what's the first thing that I do? I pray. God, this is yours. This is your mission. I'm in agreement. We came into agreement that I would come into this physical plane to change humanity. So you have to find me the right person. And then when I write an ad, what do? I run a purpose-driven ad. It's all about purpose. Man, one after another, after another, after another, after another. Great resumes, great testimonials, great purpose on their emails. Because if I don't have a purpose-driven person, it's the wrong person. Spend money to make the product better rather than advertise. How do you make the product better? By creating leaders. That's how you make it better, by identity, right? What else we got? Simplify everything, man. If it ain't simple, so what do? It's like at the workshop. Hey, did you come here so you can have a message that could change generations? And you're supposed to keep it as a secret? Is that why God brought you into this workshop? That's how I would introduce the close. And I would say, or would you have a better life if you contributed to the lives of others? Which would be the most fulfilling life for you? Because it's about you. It's about them, not about you, right? And so I would say, I can't count how many people came back. And when they referred someone, that person came back and said, thank you, you changed my life. Is there any greater compliment other than I love you eternally than that right there. So if you want a fulfilling life, you feel a responsibility to take this message out. Now, what am I doing? I'm talking to their spirit. Create an insanely great customer experience. Same thing. So it's about experiences. I said this the other night, when I was talking to the woman downstairs. Oh, well, I'm scared, blah, blah, blah. I live on the second story, and I took her hand, had her look at the staircase, and I said, 12 steps are going to change your life. You decide how much you want to suffer. Boom. Why? Because I'm moving emotion. That's my goal. You decide how much you want to suffer. What you say, I don't want to suffer. So what you have to do? Walk up 12 steps. Become a storyteller. That's what I did right there. What did I do? I told a short story. Stories create impact. Boom. Done. He was a great storyteller. Leaders start with customers and work backwards. So that's where you know the outcome, you work backwards, you create an experience, you tell a story, and then you make it simple. We create leaders. Done. That's it. You don't need to think. Don't sacrifice long-term value for short-term results. If you create a patient, short-term result. Create a leader, and here's where we have all the mantras that you've heard that I say all the time. Mark, when you get in the coaching, you'll hear these a million times. It's like we don't teach patients what to think. We teach them how to think. Why? Because if they can teach it, if they live it, they can teach it. If they teach it, they'll probably live it. If we give them purpose to teach it, every time they teach it, and you guys know, the student is not the master. The teacher becomes the master because as they're teaching it, they're also the student. Okay, that was pretty smart. Got that from A Course in Miracles. I'm not that smart. Leaders have relentlessly high standards. What's that mean? If they choose to be a leader, they are going to live it automatically. This is why we create leaders, because if they can lead others, they are certainly living it. So you got to raise their standards. I always say, why does a patient not commit? You didn't show them why they should raise their standards. That's it. That's it. And now, why didn't they raise their standards? You didn't change their beliefs. You educated them. You didn't empower them. You gave them information. Like, are we done? I mean, 2015, 17%, 2022, 11. I mean, come on, man. When do we change this model? How do these principles create leaders? We'll start with what's best for the customer. I mean, geez, if they can lead it, they're going to affect generations. Find the gap between popular perception and reality. I mean, this all seems obvious. Popular perception is medicine. Reality is the healthcare of the new world is energy healing. One thing I love about the gym is when I'm working my body, then I'm not thinking. And so that means my body takes me out of my head. My head is where fear and worry and problems are. So if I get in my head and I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? I don't know how to do this. So you think about what's your internal language. Well, I don't know how to do that, as opposed to how can I do that? Well, I can't afford that, as opposed to God, show me how I can afford that. And so when I'm in my body, I'm not thinking, and then I can listen to my intuition. So I was going through the gym and it said, as loud as I'm talking to you, I heard this voice. The healthcare system for the new world is energy healing. And I thought, it's always been energy healing. The Rockefellers developed pharmaceuticals because they were petroleum-based drugs, as you know, because they got busted by the DOJ for monopolizing petroleum. Why does he not get busted for monopolizing healthcare? Which he did, is because lots of people can make profit off it. It's the only reason. And man, that is going to come out. Be an owner, not a renter. Revolutions are won by true believers. First of all, you got to believe to a logarithmic divine level. Why would I say 12 steps and you change your life? I don't know. I haven't looked at her x-rays. I don't know, because I know I move the bone, God does healing. I don't need to look at her x-rays. Now, would I take a patient with x-rays? Absolutely not. But she's been x-rayed. She's been adjusted by several chiropractors. That's the problem. So I know her spine is safe. Great. Let me look at your posture. We're going to change your life. 12 steps. Hire and keep only great people. If your staff isn't referring someone every week, so we had a referral board, and I referred people every week because I talk to people about chiropractic wherever we go. So I was in the gym this morning, and this dude, I've talked to him a couple times. He looks phenomenal, man. The dude is built. And so I said, God, you look lean, man. What's going on? Well, I take a few months off because I have 2 bulging discs in my neck. Of course, this happens all the time. I showed him my back to health book, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he's been to chiropractors. So I talked to him about spinal correction, la, la. Anyway, I gave him a chiropractor. So he's going to call him. Tell him Dr. Fred showed you. You're just going to go in and tell him, Dr. Fred talked to me and he said I could come in, you're going to evaluate me, and I just want to get your opinion. Why did I do that? So he can feel safe. He doesn't have to commit to anything. He's already had an experience where it didn't work. So what am I doing? I'm dealing with not with his fear, but with his objection. What was his objection? Chiropractic doesn't work. So what do? I show him something different. What's he tell me? He goes, my neck should look like this, but it goes the other way. So I go, here's my book. You have to read this. And what did he say? I have it because I'm texting. I work at a desk. I work on my laptop. I mean, is it getting better? What's back to health? What's the theme of back to health? Flexion is death, extension is life. He already knows it. So what do I tell him? He's 43. Now, this is the advantage of being an old guy. I told him, dude, I'm 64. Wow, you look amazing. I go, at 33, I had degenerative disc. I was on my way to disability at your age, and I regenerated my spine. So, personal story, right? What am I doing? Storytelling. Moving emotion with a personal story and testimonial. So I say, this saved my life, and you deserve the same thing. What's that? You deserve. What am I doing? I'm appealing to his emotion. I go, do you want to be like this? And he's built for the next 50 years. Absolutely. What am I doing? Selling him lifestyle. He's going to know lifestyle before he walks in to a CBP doc. Why? Because this CBP doc has a 50 PVA. So I'm sending in a lifestyle person. Anyway, we got off on that story. But why is that? Because it irradiates from us. People overprocess. What did I do? I talked to him not about a system. I talked to his values exclusively. Inspire and empower. Don't focus on the system. Systems are automatic. I pretty much know when I do a pre-consult, I'm pretty sure a consult's coming next. And I'm pretty sure an exam's coming next. I know the script. Now adapt it to the person. So here's what happens, man. Give me a little tequila. Man, I talk way too much. Got to have vision and purpose. Keith Kroc, 3.7 million. right? Your team's got to know their core values, man. Remember, I talked about the racehorse. Look at that mask. If this is a racehorse and they want to stay focused, where can they deviate from their vision? This is what you and your team have to be like. One thing, the rest of your life, disrupt healthcare, generational patterns. No one will go to a pediatrician again. How cool is that? Oops, wrong way. Raise your standards. Look at this. Got to clear the bar, man. That's it. This bar is 7.2. Now, you may not have the skill level to do this, but one day you will. So you have to master your skill through repetition to be able to clear that bar. Now, check that out. That's not even a little bit. They're way over that bar. You could have raised that bar and they would have cleared it. You got to have an enemy. If you don't have an opponent, why would you compete and bring the best out of yourself? And this is what automatically, because of the principle, there was an opponent. I never thought of it like an opponent, but what I thought is you will never take your kids to a pediatrician. There's no needle that will pierce their skin on the advice of a medical doctor. You have to become a wolf, an alpha wolf, or you're going to go out. If you go out as a sheep, because I educated you, you're going to get eaten. That is not happening because we have a mission that God is directing us, and we have to be faithful to who we're serving. You got to have a strategy, man. First thing is make God your CEO. Here's Keith, founder of Ariba, 3.7 trillion. That's a pretty big number with a T. It's got a 5-step business model. The mission of all his companies, leadership. I mean, does it get any more aligned? Now, you guys may look, yeah, I saw this slide 3 days ago. If this isn't in the space between the chromosomes of your DNA, you'll end up educating. Nope, nope, nope. We're not doing that anymore. Nice picture, Keith. Here it is. This is leadership. This is the business model. First 3 steps for Keith. Here's Elon, right? Physics of the universe. Got to have purpose and vision. North Star. Team's got to know the core values. Be like the racehorse. You got to jump over the bar. And the only way to jump over the bar is change beliefs. Now we're going to adapt people to the process. Systems are the process. Changing beliefs are the people. Now, once we take them through the systems, changing their beliefs, that is our promotion. Here's what the profession is missing. Here's what I'd like to ask you. We need to change chiropractic. I would love you to talk to as many chiropractors as you can and inspire them to go to the Atlanta boot camps, because this is what we're going to teach them. I need you guys because, yes, I'm a soul voice, SOUL and SOLE, but we have responsibility just like your patients do. Let's create a movement that aligns with disruption and aligns with what RFK Jr. is doing. The best thing we can do is support the disruptors and align with them. So I would ask you to talk to the chiropractors and let's get them in this group and learning what no one else is teaching. Now, this was inspired not by me. One of our clients, Tim Radcliffe's been with me a decade. He said, look, MF, motherfucker, here's what you need to do. And he goes, I'm committed to bringing one person. And I'm like, you know what? Yes, I could use the help. But it's not about me. This is God's purpose. So let's align with this and let's create a new healthcare system. And this is the model. So thank you in advance. Hey, the one the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. You are a messenger. Let's talk about the pure message. And you can do one person. Look at those one people had a vision. One person can disrupt an industry, but they need to know how to build teams and they need to know how to build leadership in their customers. That's what you're learning. With God, all things are possible, man. Let's back up. All things are possible. That's why my 60th birthday, my nephew is a tattoo artist. That's why I got tattooed on my right arm. I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. Are you choosing? You're here. You've already chosen to be extraordinary. Now let's be a voice that's not only in your patients, but in the profession. I really believe we can change the profession. So how do we create leaders? Let's start from day one. Well, they got to understand the principle, man. If they don't get it, pre-consultation, if they don't get it, how can they lead? It's a universal principle aligned with the physics of the universe. They have to understand this is who I am. It's not my anatomy. It's not just I have a spinal cord. No, I am an energetic being. Energy has to get to matter or my matter is going to get sick and die. Done. That's it. They must realize what they haven't been told and feel some emotional sense of WTF. What the fuck? Like, how come nobody? There's got to be some betrayal and then a transference of trust for their survival and their best life. How have they suffered because what all the other healthcare providers didn't tell them? They must feel like, how come nobody told me? Okay, fine, I'm going with you. And then trust in that relationship gets wired into their amygdala. And we talked about that earlier. Why did some patients go get a COVID vaccination and not ask you? Because you were in their frontal lobe, you weren't wired in their amygdala. So when the world, or if the world turns upside down, I mean, there's threats of food shortage, the transference from the dollar to digital currency. I mean, who knows what's going to go on? But when everything explodes, where are they going to go to you? Because at least if they have their health covered, they can get through anything on the outside. And that's why we show that principle. He that is in you, your spirit, that's also giving you health. If I can just be healthy and I don't have to worry about that, I can get through anything else. So there's the adage, a person with their health has 1,000 dreams. A person without it has one. And RFK quoted that. You're in the 1,000 dream business. You are not in the chiropractic business. You are in the 1,000 dream business. And chiropractic is your service. And the message is freaking awesome. But if you're selling chiropractic, they'll negotiate. Now, do we love chiropractic? Absolutely. Is it universal law? Absolutely. Is it our identity? Absolutely. We're creating the likeness and image of God, and the spine and spinal cord are the bridge between heaven and earth. It's the bridge between the fifth dimension, spirit world, and the third dimension, physical world. That is the bridge of why we walk through this physical world as a spiritual being. But now the problem is we have our humanity and our brain gets in the way. So we have to be wired into and associated with their survival. Then we can get through any condition in this world. Give them the purpose, change generational patterns because they know something their family doesn't know. And that's the principle. They have to feel that purpose. They adopt a belief, I should have underlined that word, of chiropractic first. That's it. They want to bring their spouse to day 2. Now, when they believe this, their spouse to day 2, they got to get on the same page. Why? It's the health of the future of their family, and they have to be aligned. It's got to be one of the most important alignments in a marriage is what are we going to do to keep our family healthy? I mean, does it get any more important than that? Spouse must understand energy is a principle as an identity, not as anatomy. They got to get that on day 2. You must engage the spouse and talk about their generational patterns because both parents are bringing that into their kids. Now, look at this. These are all mindsets, right? These are mindsets, their convictions, their core values, their purposes, their principles, their standards. They have to get this for you to create a leader on day 2. And then you extend the responsibility for both parents. How do you want to raise your children? What do you want to teach them? So one of the things I used to teach in a workshop, I would say when you take your kid to an MD and you give them drugs, you are teaching them that what's in them is not big enough, is not good enough, and they have to take something outside of them to be able to be good enough and heal. So when they're teenagers and they're searching for their identity, what's the probability? Look at all the teenagers. Drug companies are marketing to young adults, teenagers, and even kids in the womb for antidepressants. So what are they going to get on? That's marketing. They're searching for, who am I really? And they get on drugs, whether recreational or prescription. Does it matter? So when kids take drugs and they don't grow up with chiropractic, what are you teaching them about themselves? You know how many parents just hung their heads in the audience? Why did they hang their heads in despair? Because they're like, pardon my language, fuck that. I'm bringing my family in. And then you have the close of the workshop. There's no parent that wants their kid to grow up with self-esteem issues. So then you set appointments for their kids and get commitments to the workshop, right? Workshop is about how to recover your health as quickly as possible and how do you want to live the rest of your life. First is health recovery, right? Workshop close. Teach the workshop in a way that inspires them to take action now to sign up. So the close is a call to action, but what it isn't is selling. The close is not a sale. It's an opportunity to take action because they just learn how to take power over their health, the health of their family, the global health problem in the world, and the purpose to tell others and contribute to humanity. God, let's read that one again. I won't read it, but check it out again. That's the workshop that you teach. While you're checking it out, I'm going to take another sip of my tequila here. Which means if I get any more fired up, this is just going to take longer. Guests sign up at the workshop close. We use the archery target and we teach you exactly how to do the close. They must sign up their family, friends, and all the people we care about. So we do have a training on the close. We have 2 teleconferences. One is how to tell your story, the introduction, the first half of the workshop. And this is in the full coaching program. The second is the second half of the workshop and the close. And we use the archery target. The bullseye are the people in the room. Each concentric ring that moves away from the bullseye are the relationships moving away from that person. So bullseye is the person in the room, that's the guest. First concentric ring, your spouse, significant other. Second, kids, immediate family. Third, extended family. Fourth, close friends. Fifth, coworkers. Sixth, people you don't know. So as a joke, I would say, well, sign up people you don't know. And what's that mean? I go, I'm just kidding. But what that means, when you meet people, you're going to tell the chiropractic story. So what am I doing? I'm teaching them how to go out in the community and get patients they don't even know yet. So when they're in the line of the grocery store, they have the responsibility to sign that person up. They have to make appointments for all those people that night. And I teach you how in each relationship dynamic, how to give them responsibility to contribute. That's the key. Then in the workshop, they're going to write 20 and 30-year health and life goals. Why? Where there's no vision, people perish. So 5 questions. We went through this because we start every year with, let's make this year the healthiest year of your life. What do you want your health to be like 20, 30 years? Now you have to teach them what are exceptional answers. 93% of the American population don't have a purpose. They don't know their purpose. 85% don't write their goals. So you have to give them examples of long-term goals. So they don't write, well, I want my health to be good. What do you want your health of your family to be like? So we're expanding the focus. Now, if they don't have kids, you're talking generational. Because what did we talk about yesterday? Where do they live? Who did you get it from? Where do they live? Are they in another state? How often do they visit? When's the next time they're going to be here? So it doesn't matter if they don't have kids. What do you want to be doing in 20 to 30 years? Now, we know people don't buy long-term what they can do, but what you want to find out is, why are all these important to you? Why is that important to you? Are there values? One reason people don't sign up is it contradicts with their values. Why? Because you're sold a program. What purpose would that fulfill? So question 4 are their values. Question 5, let's get them thinking about purpose. Now you're looking for values and purpose. You're not looking at the goals, go, wow, that's a really great goal. Boy, that's exciting. That's incredibly boring. Look at what they wrote and think about curiosity is your most powerful emotion. Why would they write that? This is why curiosity is. Why would they write, I want to travel with my wife when we retire? Is it because they want to see different countries? Well, that might be it. Is it because now they have freedom in retirement? Is it because they want to create memories? Is it because we busted our ass for 40 freaking years and now I want to, I picked a job and not a purpose? That's the majority of people. That's why the foundation is healed. Why? Because most people pick a career and not a purpose. Many don't even pick a calling. So why would they write what they wrote? Who's the person writing it? If you don't know the answers to these, refer to the answers question 4 and 5, values and purpose. But if you can tell them what their values and purpose are, they're going to feel understood and you're going to raise their state even more. So you want to be able to tell them rather than, them tell you. Don't guess. So if you're not sure, don't guess. Go back to questions 4 and 5. But don't guess and be wrong. That is a break in rapport. So what examples? Well, if they want something, it's because they don't have it. Well, I want to be healthy. Well, what are they saying? I'm not healthy. I don't have confidence in the strength and health of my body now. That's scripted, right? If they say they don't want something, I don't want to have cancer. Well, they either had it or they watched someone who's close to them. So you got to find out, ask a question, right? This is part of the flow chart. What's their belief system? Well, lots of people I hear from you guys, well, I don't want to have pain. Well, what's that mean? Then it's not the pain. It's they don't. What's the reframe for pain? We go over this over and over, and you guys could probably repeat it. I must want to unmute you so you can repeat it. It means they don't have confidence in the strength and health of their body. So ask the question, why? Because you're dealing with a belief system. You're not dealing with a condition. You're dealing with a belief. Your goal is to change their belief. Now, if you change their belief, then you have to change the emotion driving their belief. So if they want something, what is it? Is it survival? Is it scarcity? Is it fear? Is it they don't believe they can have it? Or is it they have hope? If they don't want something, that is definitely fear, survival driven. And so now you're dealing with the emotion because you're dealing with a belief. By the way, if they don't want something, what's the fear? Generational pattern. Look for common themes. All parents, when you know they're a parent, they want to provide a great life for their kids. So all parents will have similar goals. So what you want to do is create unity between the husband and wife. If they don't have unity, then one of the parents will object to the program. You have to create unity and get them on the same page. How do you do that? Hey, you guys have talked about this, your parents, you want to talk about their values and purpose. You want to provide the most health, highest level of health and success for your kids together. And I see this is a common theme between you. Would you agree? You'll do anything you can. Can you see why this is healthcare lifestyle so your kids don't end up on drugs and disease? I mean, if they end up on prescription drugs, what's the probability that they associate recreational drugs? Right? I would go over that in the workshop, cover it all. Leadership is a common theme. Speak leadership into them. Speak the behavior that you want to see into them. And what will you see? I want to be more involved in my church. I want to, whatever is health or, speak. There's lots of people that come in, they're leaders. If they own businesses, if they are an executive in a corporation, speak leadership into them. Purpose is one of the highest human inspirations. Find their purpose and you make them unstoppable in this experience. Because you're going to go through time and money. You make them unstoppable. This is automatic. And that's how you get over time and money. You create leaders. Now time and money is not an issue. Re-exam. Purpose of the re-exam is not to go over objective findings. It's to put them back into an unstoppable state. You have to perform the re-exam. We go over the re-exam in the second boot camp, the perfect retention boot camp. You have to perform your scripts because you create an experience that brings them to 1,000 feet where they have purpose, they have vision, they become unstoppable. The objective findings teach them why they can quit. Why? Because your asthma is, 80% better. It's like, geez, I got a whole new life. What else is a purpose? Keep your finger on the pulse of their mindset. I need to take a breather, man. This is intense. Are you guys getting this? You have to keep your finger on the pulse of the mindset. That's why we give them the questionnaires. What's first questionnaire? First question. What flows through the spinal cord? Like if they don't get that, man, the questionnaires are game changing. God, if they put blood, they're going to quit. Like, and think about it. You went through day 1, day 2, possibly a workshop. You're at the first re-exam, 30 days of care, 12, 15 visits, and you put blood. That's patient education. So you look at the questionnaires, you look at the answers, and then you decide, I must have said the word energy 52 times, maybe 102 times. And you put blood. How much do you love teaching information? Because you didn't create a student, you created a dunce. Okay, fine. So in grade school, there was a couple times I had to sit on a stool with my corner in the nose, nose in the corner while while they were teaching class. That's an entrepreneur. That's a world changer right there. Remind them they are still in health recovery. 60% recovered is not recovered. 60% recovery is not recovered. You're still in the recovery stage. Why? Because they're thinking on quitting. Then they have to repeat their program all the way into lifestyle. So you ask repetitive questions and you make the recommendations. You set up their health recovery plan in a very specific order that has 100% certainty, and then they have to repeat it. And then you ask them, are you budgeting? Do you have the money saved? Because if they don't, they're planning on quitting. Strategic pause. Are you guys getting this? Make identity statements. And Susie, man, Susie is the queen of the re-exam identity statements. Thank you, Susie, because I use your one-liners all the time. You've healed more in 60 days than you did in 42 years. That's an identity statement. Nobody told you about asthma when you were 5 years old. You've never had a strong immune system, and your immune system has grown and matured and is preventing more disease today in 2 months than it did the first 32 years of your life. Strategic pause again. People don't buy products or services, they buy who they're becoming. The health recovery is the plane, it's not the beach. And it's not about sitting on the beach. It's about experiencing the white, soft sand. It's experiencing, the 78 or 84-degree water that is crystal clear. What do they experience? You have to put yourself in their vision, and you have to learn to use words that elicit emotion. You got to become a great storyteller. Dr. Susie, Dr. Brianne and Travis, Dr. Jose, Dr. Patrick, all the doctors. You want to communicate objectively. They don't care. An objective story is boring. It's boring. Create an insane, great customer experience by learning how to use words to tell a story that engages them emotionally, that they feel like they're in the story, living on the beach, wiggling their toes between the sand with their new bride, no cell phones, no worries. And you know what? Let's go in this beautiful ocean because I see dolphins swimming offshore. Make them feel like they're in the experience. That's how you communicate. Develop the skill. The doctor mind will not do that. be a person talking to another person who's another child of God. Be a divine being talking to another divine being. They will never say no. Make an identity statement who they're becoming, full of healing energy. Oh my God, I put a small g, who God created them to be. Look at their last 30 days and then schedule. What do they do? Man, you've been having a hard time on Fridays. What's up? You made 9 out of 12. Look, you're not the same person. So we don't get them in a higher state when they haven't made all their appointments. What do? Geez, man, you're 40% improved. Your body's healing. You've healed more in 2 years than you did in 42 years. And you didn't even make all your freaking appointments. Like, dude, you should be 60%. WTF is going on Fridays? Like, come on, man. Step it up. Raise your standards. Your body loves this. It wants to heal. Energy is healing your body. What WTF is going on? Let's work it out. And that's exactly the tone, body language, everything, how I perform. Now, does it help to be Italian? Maybe. Irish do that. Cubans, look at you. Cubans, oh my God, man. Jews, you're Jewish? Come on, guys. You're all friggin' came from immigrants. Okay, you can do it. English, I don't know. They're a little reserved. You got to break the pattern. Get 100%, 10% commitment to the next 30 days. That's how you handle your percent kept appointments. Right there. Look at that. Most important, what's this say? Re-exam, purpose, and outcome. Well, I'm excited to see this. What is it? Share the healing message, make a difference in the life of their friends, family, and generations, and everyone they know. What is it? Get referrals. That's what it is. Get referrals. They have to share the healing message and make a difference. Become a leader. Make a difference in the lives of their friends, family, generations, and what? Everyone they know. And what should I add? Everyone they will meet. Create purpose-driven chiropractors. They don't have to do it for a profession. They don't have to do it for a living. But what you'll find is many will become chiropractors, but make them the most purpose-driven chiropractor other than you, because they got to come up to your level, that you know. And that's how all of this started. One question: how can I help all my patients? Which ones? Type all in the chat. All in capital letters. I'm going to type it in the chat. Can I do it in the chat? All. There you go. Let's put a bunch of exclamation points. All patients into purpose-driven chiropractors. Because if they, there you go, Jose. There you go, Susie. If they can think and have a heart like me, they're working for God to help people live their God-given destiny. And there's no greater purpose. By the way, 2 things. Patrick, you're already committed. I would go to the Healed event in April, because that is how you get out of your mind and your heart. And honestly, to continually evolve, if you want to climb the stairway to heaven, to eventually what's already in you, become conscious of your divinity more than your humanity. Right now, with me, it takes a shitload of repetition and rituals, and I stay immersed in it many times through the day, which is why I teach it. I would commit to at least going to once a year, and then I'm asking you to commit to go to the Atlanta boot camps. Because trust me, it will be different than any boot camp that you've been to. And I'm going to go through these principles. And I'm taking the disruption purpose into Elite, into the boot camps. I guarantee you, I evolve on a daily basis. I work out probably 45 minutes, 6 days a week. Every day, I'm immersed in something that will evolve my consciousness and evolve what I teach you. So I would ask you, for you, your purpose, where the world is today, that you go to Healed in April in Atlanta, for you, not for me, but for you, and go to the boot camp in Atlanta. I hope that you know that if I ask you to do something, that I will create an experience that will help you evolve. And I would say with you guys that are on here, I think that you already know that with confidence. So the world is changing, man. It's changing fast. Let's at minimally elite be at the tip of the spear of chiropractic, but let's be great leaders that we truly have the purpose to change the world right now. Okay, if you have any questions, I'll stop the recording right now. So let's pause, stop. Where is that? Pause, stop. There we go. Pause.